Yo, what's up, babies? Fire Boys, my channel. I'm gonna do some writing. Yeah, it's Friday. I hope everyone else is feeling as good as I am. I'm super stoked that it's Friday. And it does not hurt that fact that it's actually like a sunny, happy, bright, fun Friday. Oh, let me fix my light here. I had the bright idea to put on a ball cap today. And I didn't feel like doing my hair, but now naturally it makes my face all shady. No one's gonna recognize me. If I've learned anything from Marvel movies, no one will know who I am now. So, like, who's that weird, strange guy? We can learn a lot of things from Marvel movies, such as how one basic story with minor changes can give us an infinite number of blockbuster movies, and how things like sunglasses or a ball cap can really, really change someone's appearance entirely, 100%. I think the funny thing about that is, though, is like, it's like I'm trying to remember. I think someone demonstrated that, like, it does actually work in the sense of, like, if you're not actively looking at someone, like, having just like a ball cap and keeping your face low will 100% like disguise your look. Because I think it was in one of the I know it was in one of the Marvel movies, but I forget which one it was. I think it was in Spider-Man Far From Home. They had Gyllenhaal in a bunch of scenes, and he had just like a dark ball cap on and or sunglasses, and he's like in the background of a bunch of scenes. And like if you look for him, you can see him there. I feel like I remember someone seeing that, but I don't remember if that was like a spoof that someone did as a joke or if that was real, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that. And I was super mad when I first saw that, because I was like, dang it, the joke can't be said anymore. I can't say that it's silly to assume that no one would know who you are when you put on a ball cap, because I never noticed him there. He was just a character in the background. So it's like, I mean, like the concept, like if you're making eye contact with someone, obviously you're gonna recognize them if they still have a, even if they have a hat on or something. But like, it was proof of concept that even if you, like, as long as someone isn't actively looking for you when you put on the hat and or the sunglasses, they won't recognize you. They like, people, it'll make it harder to pick you out of a crowd. Like, it'll be harder for someone to scan a crowd and notice that you're in it. So, there we go. Lesson learned. So, I don't know, like in a situation like this, realistically, of course you're gonna, like, obviously the cap doesn't do anything. But it's like, if I walked out like this versus this, right? I mean, I've got horrible hat hair now. I'm gonna hide that back. But it's like my usual hairdo versus this, right? If I were out walking the sidewalk, people who know me would glance and recognize me on the sidewalk like this, but probably not as much like this. So, there you go. So go try and rob a bank and tell us your results. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. Or if you do, don't tell them that I made that joke, because that's going to be a hard one to explain. Whatever. Let's do some writing. Let's get us over here. There we go. All right, I have it set to D&D Beyond. Let me get us to monsters. We're going to continue where we left off on Monday. So on Monday we started working on, well, we're diving into, we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of our next chapter of this campaign that we're working on. And we've kind of got our setting of this. We're working on building a city that's an abandoned city that's in sort of the Goldenwind Plains. And just to kind of offer a really basic description of what that city looks like and feels like what the atmosphere is supposed to be. I have in mind that this city is a very like Rohan-esque city, right? Where it's like very much in the plains, very much more flat in nature, right? As opposed to being, a vertical city or anything like that. Just a lot of, like, it's a lot of single and double story buildings all kind of like piled around each other, and the atmosphere of the world, of the environment around, is very plains-esque, not quite delving into like Serengeti deserts, more like, I guess when I'm imagining this, I'm thinking like the Golden Wind Plains do kind of delve into a lot of Serengeti like environments, but this area is more so like, I think of the American West, right, where there's like plains, like home on the range type of plains. I don't know if that means anything to anyone else. It means something to me, so that's like helpful when I'm trying to do it, but when I'm trying to get people to envision it, it's hard. But I don't know. I think the idea gets across that it's a very plains type of setting. Tall grass, short trees, sparse trees, lots of big rocks scattered around. That type of setting, easy like that. Occasional hills and rocky outcroppings, especially in this city, because this city, and like part of the reason why this city is a little less Serengeti, trending towards desert, and a little more trending towards like forest, is because it bumps up, like the city is part of the plains that bumps up against the mountains, and the natural order of things with mountains, especially around these types of areas, would be to sort of serve as a place of shade and a place where, like, the mountains have this natural effect of sort of forcing precipitation, just because of the way air currents flow in and amongst and around mountains. There was a time when I knew a bit more about how that type of stuff worked, like in a meteorological sense. A mouthful of a word. I used to know a bit more about that, but I've since forgotten most of it, so don't ask me the details. But I do remember that, there are reasons why one side of a mountain is like oftentimes colder than the other, even if their latitude doesn't change at all, right? Like, there are reasons for that by meteorology, but the important part is that it's going to be more of a temperate situation because of the natural shadows and shade and the natural precipitation that'll come. I mean, even in any direction, mountain peaks, will have snow caps and everything that in the summers will melt, and they'll get a lot of runoff that will, in the immediate areas around mountains, make it a bit more lush and lively. So, because of that, it's going to be more of an alive form of plains rather than, like I say, that sort of like brown dead. Kitty, are you coming up? Oh, hi, Kitty. There's the kitty tail. Kitty wants to, nope, she wants to really get up in her business. Yep. I know. Oh, yeah, now you did it. Are you going to go in your bed? Okay. I'm glad you're learning to like your bed even when the microphone boom mic is there. Just, when I first installed the mic with the boom arm, she got super mad about it and refused to sleep in her bed for like a couple weeks there, but now we're adjusting. I know, honey. If you want the lap, you can come snuggle on the lap. You don't have to avoid it. You don't know what you want. You barely know what knowing is. There you go. That's a good girl. Yeah, you chew on your crinkle ball. It's like her favorite toy. She's got these little toys that's like got this like crinkly type of plastic, and she loves just chewing on it. She likes the noise that it makes. It comforts her. Oh, no. Okay, we decided we don't want that. Moody. Little spaz. So anyway, that's the type of environment we're working on. And I'm trying to, oh man, I'm bumping my desk here. What I want to get done today is I want to finish figuring out, we started figuring out the monsters and enemies we want to have roaming around here. And there's always kind of the challenge of trying to figure out how to do that based on the challenge ratings that are available to you. And as I look at this, I am slightly amused by how these things are done in D&D, because we have a rhinoceros at a challenge rating 2. And then if we go down here, we can see we have, the Lucrata is a little different there. I guess, never mind. I guess it makes sense. Warhorse and Riding Horse, those are the lower end ones for this thing. I was kind of amused by the concept of the fact that a rhinoceros would be part of the easier section compared to the horses that would be part of the next step up. But the horses are the easy ones, whereas the rhino is like the boss. And we're just flavoring it to be rhinos. So it'll still be kind of a little goofy, but it's a magical world. Things are weird. Things are weird and unpredictable. You accept it and you move on. That's just sort of the habit of things, the nature of things. But yeah, so the nature of how I want the monsters to be in this part of the world is very much just beasts, maybe like slightly magicked up versions of beasts, right? Depending, so like in the sense of just like real big boys, right? You know, so it's like giant goats versus just regular goats, you know, things like that. But I really want this to be sort of grounded in familiarity for like real life humans. You know, just a sense of this one is very much just a natural environment that has a lot of natural creatures roaming around in it. And they're aggressive and territorial, so you might have to fight them and you have to be careful, but generally speaking, you know, that's where we're at. So I'm going to filter by just the beasts here. We'll sort by challenge rating. And if we need to, we can broaden it. And sometimes I will, just to help thin the herd a little bit when I'm browsing, I'll add in the environments, right? So in this one, we would probably do like grassland, maybe add hill in there. And you know, maybe urban too, because we are talking about a city. So it's like, hey, you know, maybe there is like the uber raccoon that's the size of a sedan. You never know. I don't think D&D has something like that. Although we could just skin something to look like that. That would be, oh man, now I'm gonna have that idea on my mind, and I'm gonna have a hard time getting rid of it. We'll see if we can come up with other ideas. But this is how we're gonna start it, and we can narrow it if we need to, because there are a lot of creatures. But I think as we're increasing the challenge, as we're going to the more and more difficult parts of this chapter in our campaign, it'll be less and less of an issue having too many things. But you know, I guess famous last words. Let's go ahead and see what we need here. So we finished the first 2 floors, right? Yeah, section 2. So let's do section 3. Section 3. And then let's see here. Yeah, so a lot of times I like to put little subtitles there just because it's fun and it makes it, I don't know, seem like a little more episodic and intriguing. Like, but it doesn't. There's never really a purpose for it, because it's not like I ever read that to my players. And it's not like I'm saying, you are now entering section 3, the doom of the daredevils, or what, like some weird thing like that. I never read that to my players. It just, that's how I organize it, but that's not how I present it, so it doesn't really matter. Chalk it up as one of those things that I do to amuse myself as the DM, since the game, like I'm always talking about, you as a DM, you really have to be willing to make your own fun out of the situation, because your role as DM is to lose. Like that's what you do. That's what you do. You create a scenario and you play creatures that are going to lose, even when you feel like the odds should be stacked in your favor. Like that's what you exist to lose. So you have to find your fun in other ways beyond winning combats. I mean, you can kind of like win a combat if it serves the purpose of like having your players get captured for this, that, or the other reason. You can always do that, but you can't really get that satisfaction of getting a nice solid coup de grace of, like, you know, ramming your sword through someone's heart and finishing them, right? Because even if you do go through with that at any point in time, which I think if you're playing it well and if you're really telling a compelling story and your players are all in agreement that it's fine to do, I think that could be a really compelling part of a game. Generally speaking, you know, even if you do that and everyone's on board with it and it's a good story moment, you also feel just disgusting for doing it. Because I mean, like, the thing is, if you're a good DM, you are enjoying and loving the players, or the player characters, the same as the players are. So it's not like for me, I think about the game, the guys that I'm running the game for, and I would take no joy in offing any of them. Like, it could be a very good story moment, but I would feel dirty doing it. So it's like you have to find joy in other things, such as, you know, putting in little jokes for yourself here, or enjoying the fact that even if you're not going to kill your players, you're gonna mess with them royally throughout any situation. That's why I always sound so adversarial towards my players, because I'm always like, yeah, this will really screw them. This will really mess with their minds. This is perfect. This will really hurt their brains a little bit. So, I don't know. I guess thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so we need to come up with our fodder enemies. Let's come up with some enemies for this section here. It's actually easier to start with the boss, I find, because once we know what we're trying to build up to, we can have like enemies, and it's a little easier to kind of find enemies that have similar resistances and themes and skills and everything. And usually I pay more attention to the theme, to the skills and the general the skills and the resistances and stuff, because then you can just reskin them to all kind of look the same, like we did in our first section up here, right? So we have mule, cow, giant goat, and then rhinoceros. Like, that certainly stands out a little bit, and we could do it that way. Or we could, if we want to make it a bit more cohesive, it's like, yeah, there's a herd of rhinos that are around there. There's like one rhino that's like big bad rhino daddy, that's there, and he's gonna just make your day a whole lot worse. And then the rest of them are just like your garden variety rhinos, as we all see. The ones that are real pests that'll just dig into your dumpster and eat your cabbages that you've been growing in your garden for 3 months. Garden variety rhinos. But yeah, so the point is we'll start with the boss. And the level of difficulty I typically am looking for at any given time when I'm coming up with a boss is one boss. Like, the boss alone should be about a medium difficulty battle. So somewhere around 950 experience points. That's the challenge rating we're targeting here. I like to do it by experience. I always do things by experience points because it just makes it a bit easier to nuance the battles, like the collective. Then trying to think about challenge rating, I find if it's just all based on the experience points, then it gets easier to subdivide and mix up different challenge ratings and stuff. It just gets easier to balance that stuff, and it has yet to really bite me in the keister so far with my players. Like, it's worked out that a boss battle at this point is exactly as difficult as I would expect it to be. Like, to put the example here. All right, so our very final boss battle, the boss of this whole chapter, should be worth, like, the battle should be worth about 3,700 experience points. That's for 5 level 6 players, right? On somewhere around there, right? And so, like, I having done, actually, what's easier, what's a better comparison is this one right here. So at this level right here, this is kind of geared towards level 5-ish. I don't know. There's a whole complicated process. You can see my past VODs for it, and one of these days I'll actually come through with what I keep saying I'm going to do and just make a separate YouTube video for how I do it. Point is, like, my players, right, so they were all level 5, and we just did a level 5 battle. And using the method that I have for figuring out how difficult based on experience points, it was just like primo difficulty. It was exactly as difficult as it should be. They had 5 players there, and multiple of them were at risk of getting knocked unconscious. It was a challenge. They were scared, but they pulled through. It was serendipitous how perfect it worked out. And I didn't really have to modify or mollify anything. I didn't have to change tactics on the fly to make things easier. I didn't have to add or take away hit points from anything. I didn't have to make anything exceptionally stupid or smart. It worked out really well. So I'm pretty comfortable with the way I've got things going. I guess I should say that. The system that I use, I feel comfortable about the challenge being right based on how I run my games. If you approach games differently, my method might not work. So, as I always say, I will not be offended if you don't think that my method would work for you. And I do think everyone should analyze it, play test it, and make adjustments as they need to. Because every DM runs games a little different. Every group of players plays a little different. So it'll naturally make things a little different for people. So anyway, just blah, blah, blah aside. Let's see here. Is it... it would just automatically do it by challenge rating. I don't care for this whole not by challenge rating thing. Okay, so... yeah, challenge rating 4 will be good. It's a little higher than we want to, but I think that's better because challenge rating 3 brings us 700, and that's shy. I'd rather lean a bit heavier so that way the boss seems just a little bit more dangerous. And since we're targeting a medium difficulty battle, the boss battle will be worth a whole lot more experience points, so we can still throw in some cronies there to really make the battle a challenge. So we're working with level 4. I immediately love the idea of a giant walrus just roaming around town. Makes no sense for it to be there, so I won't use it. But boy, oh boy, do I love that. Elephant? And to think, that would only be the boss halfway through. That would be like the halfway point mini-boss. Wow. I actually do kind of like that idea. Giant coral snake wouldn't be bad. Giant subterranean lizard, is that what that is? Ooh. That'd be kind of fun. Just like a Tremors style battle. Like a lizard that just like swims around in the earth and like comes up and attacks. The lizard dies. This wild creature is no longer restrained by it and can escape from the corpse using 10 feet of movement. Exiting I do like the idea of something that could just come up and eat them. Let's just look and see. Because the elephant's going to be tough to come up with. Well, I mean, I guess so. Trampling charge, gore, and stomp. So if we just have something that can gore and stomp. But even that, for monsters, is going to be pretty limited. Whereas if we went with the giant subterranean lizard, we can definitely say there's like a big swarm of lizards within a certain part of town. Because that's the general idea that I have with this. Like, each section is like a different type of monster, different theme of monster. And my thought is that the city is big enough that there are just different areas where different creatures are thriving, right? This part of town, oh yeah, the lizards, there are a lot of lizards that live in this part of town. They really like the nature, like they really like the types of trees and buildings that are here. They make good, they're really good for lizards making homes. So there's a lot of like giant big old reptiles over here. You know, it's like this area with the rhinos. It's like, yeah, that's kind of around the perimeter. They like the protection of the buildings, but then easy access to like the grasses for grazing and stuff like that, right? So it's like, that's kind of how I'm thinking I'm going to structure a lot of this campaign once we start, or not campaign, but this chapter of the campaign, once we get to like the portion where we're making maps and everything. That's kind of how I imagine I'm going to structure it. So I like to have similar things. And elephants, I mean, an elephant would be really fun. It would be really fun, but I don't know that we necessarily have a lot of other things to do along with it. It's just hard to know. So let's go. Well, you know what we can do? Just kind of take a look and see what else is around here before we decide. Swarm of poisonous saber-tooth tiger. Oof. And we got rhino. I mean, we could do a rhino and say it's a smaller elephant. Right, that charge and gore, that would work. Could do that, give us a chance to reuse the rhino, and then that would actually be really fun because players would probably be able to recognize a lot of the stats and have learned how to handle those types of creatures by doing the rhino section. Not bad, we could do that. Easiosaur, hunter shark, giant white moray eel, giant elk, giant crayfish, giant elk. What are they? Ram, so you can kind of do this, yeah, charge, ram, and hooves. You just call that big feet. You can kind of use them as elephants, and surprisingly seeing more those things than I am seeing anything similar to a lizard, so it might actually even be easier. Yeah, I mean, we could do like dinos for some of the lizards, bite and claw. Guess that could kind of work. Tiger, swarm of kippers, spider king. I am the spider king. Old Croaker. good old Croaker. He's a regular at the inn. He drinks a whole lot and he's a real heavy smoker. That's why they call him Old Croaker. Also because he's died 4 times. They've resuscitated him every time, but he croaks. He croaks a lot. And yeah, that's Old Croaker. One giant rocktopus. I mean, come on, man. Oh boy. Giant hyena, giant eagle, dire wolf. What else we got? Strawberry clawfoot, and I guess warhorse, swarm of rot grubs, of rubgrots. A giant wasp, giant seahorse, giant goat. Yeah, you know what? Actually, now that I'm looking at these creatures, like, because we could do the giant goat again, I think it's actually going to be easier to go with the elephant option. So, and it's also more fun. I use lizards a lot because lizards fit in a lot of scenarios and can be used in a lot of different ways. So let's get weird with it. Let's have there be an elephant around, and this is like King Bull Elephant, baby. He's ready to just wreck your world. So just take a screenshot of that so we can plop that into our notes. We need to, let's just quickly copy our little enemy stats and strats title here, because this is an old form of the template that does not have the enemy stats and strats thing put in there. I gotta not be silly, and I need to actually get ourselves some working room there, and then let's go back. Again, we have to chat. Copy that, and go in here, paste that. Did I put that in the wrong section? I 100% put that in the wrong section. Boy, oh boy, people are gonna think I'm just all kinds of dumb, which they're not wrong, but I don't want to advertise it. There we go. There it is. Okay. The elephant. Shambling charge. If the elephant moves at least 20 feet straight towards a creature, then hits it with a gore attack on the same turn, target must succeed on a DC 12 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. If the target is prone, the elephant can make one stomp attack against it as a bonus action. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Elephant. Okay, yeah. This guy is definitely going to... So, as always, I'm going to just put a few, like, cliff notes, like, order of operations type things. For simpler creatures like this, for the beasts and everything, it's not going to be quite as essential to do this, because they all kind of have, like, two ways of attacking, especially when it's a charging thing. It's either charge in or keep hitting the thing you're in front of. But I still like to do this type of stuff, so that way when battle comes, I have like nuanced, more complicated approaches to battle than just like quickly reading, he's got to stop, do a stop, right? It helps, if you do these cliff notes, it kind of helps to remember things, at least for me, because I have the tendency to, like, when I am looking at this in the middle of a session, like, this is just like, because it's not a verbal sentence written out, because it's just a bunch of like really quick, like, you know, it's like stenographer notes almost, and it just doesn't click with my brain real fast. Whereas if I have a sentence where I can just like read one sentence, it's like, if enemy is close, will attack using this thing. I can be like, got it. That's easy. It's explained to me. I've been spoon fed how to do this by myself. Thanks, past me. So I like to do that kind of stuff. And like I say, it gets a lot more important to do that when you have like a complicated magic user or something like that. For these types of things, not so much. But one thing that it can help with is with these types of creatures, I can put little notes that say things like, if receiving this much damage, will try to run away, or if receive, like, a lot of times they'll do stuff where it's like, if they have some sort of like reckless or something like that, I'll be like, we'll fight normally until at half health, and then we'll switch to reckless attacks to try and survive and gain the upper hand, right? So like a Hail Mary type of thing. So I add a lot of these notes that are just quicker ways than scanning and trying to make sense of an entire stat block, right? Just like quick notes that it's like, if this, then do this. If this, then do this. If this, then do this. Go until the fight ends. You know, you just give yourself some order of operations. Makes it a bit easier to remember everything. You know, I'll put little notes too, like at the beginning, I'll say, don't forget about, you know, resistance or extra ability or reaction, right? You do those little things there. So that way I don't have to read an entire paragraph right here to remember how things work. I can just be like, oh yeah, no, it's going to trampling charge and then stop. Great. I already took care of that for myself. So let's do that actually. We'll target closest enemy. Trampling, charge, and then stomp / gore that same enemy until it's dead. Until we'll say until one of them is dead. Then we'll just do then pick new target and repeat. That's just what it's gonna do. It's gonna charge in and try and kill everything, because like elephants don't run away from a fight, which is too bad when you think about like poachers and how that can kind of make it easier for poachers. But also it's kind of awesome that elephants will be like, oh, you think your machete is going to stop me? That's adorable, as it continues to charge in and just really make your world one of pain and regret. So yeah, I like this. Let's see here. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm actually going to get rid of this. Stomp if prone. Gore if upright. There we go. And then repeat if target dies. There we go. And like if the target tries to run away, because the idea here is if target dies, we'll say if target tries to run, trampling charge again. We'll just put that little note there. So it's like it sticks with that same target. So if they try to run, if they use like a disengage and try to get away, it will chase them. It will chase them. It will not stop. That's what it's going to do. One of you is going to die today. You don't have a choice in that. The only choice you have is to try and make sure that it's the elephant and not you. But someone will die today, and that's the way they do it. So that'll be good. So I think that's excellent. Let's go ahead and so our boss here is going to be the elephant, worth 1100 XP. There we go. So there's a little cliff note there. Sweet. All right. So now our leaders, these guys, that's always 2 or 3 of them would make for a medium battle. So these guys we're going to look for probably around our 450, which is what is that? Challenge rating 2? Do I have that right? I think it's challenge rating 2 because 3 is 7, so 2 ought to be 450. Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and go with these guys. We can do the giant boar. They would probably act, yeah, charge and relentless. Yeah, absolutely. Charge, relentless, and tusk. Yeah, I think these guys are perfect. I don't even really need to look at anything else. I think that's perfect, actually. I mean, we could use the rhinoceros, gore, and charge, but functionally, that's kind of the same thing. Yeah, and I like this relentless. Recharges after a short or long rest. Or takes 10 damage or less. That would reduce it to 0 hit points. It's reduced to 1 point instead. I like that. I want to be able to use that in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that one. We're going to use the giant boar, which is not a boar. Get it? Like boar as in like I'm bored. Like yeah, like yeah. Really, really low effort, low hanging fruit on that one, huh? All right, giant boar worth 450 XP. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then we will use that and work with our giant boar. So, given just a little bit of stats and strats here, we're going to just do remember relentless. You know, that's the type of thing. So it's like, don't forget to use all of the stuff that we have available to us when we're doing that. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that I do while I'm being a DM. Like, if I don't have notes for that, that's one of the biggest things that I do that I get frustrated with myself is I forget to use all of the tools available to me. I'll kind of zero in on the first couple things and be like, yeah, that's great. And then just remember like, okay, on its turn, it'll do this and this and this. Forgetting that. You know, they all have things like resistances and special abilities like relentless here. So it's like putting those little notes there will really help, like always really helps me make sure that I am using everything and making the combat as effective as I need it to be for it to be that compelling battle for players. So we'll do this. Remember relentless. We'll say charges nearest target, and then we'll say charges nearest target and sticks with it until one of them dies. Boom, just like that. I kind of really like that idea of them just like being that type of relentless, not like special skill relentless, but just like downright will not stop trying to attack until one of you is dead type of relentless. Because that can be, I mean, I guess in reality, like when I think about how D&D works, that's kind of how a lot of battles end up going, right? It's always a fight to the death. But the idea of one like offensively doing that, right? Just going in and charging and charging and charging and constantly doing that, even if players try to like maneuver away or anything like that. Like there's something fun about something that is that shamelessly aggressive about combat. So I don't know, I enjoy that. I don't really know where I was going with that. I like it. All right, so soldiers, we'll want about 5 of these guys to be a medium battle. So we're going to look for our 200 experience points, which should be... That should be... What does that make them? Challenge rating 1, I believe. I believe challenge rating 1 is worth 1 or 200 a pop. Yeah. So let's find a giant hyena, giant eagle, giant octopus, giant spider, giant swan, toad, vulture, lion, moorbounder. What kind of stats? We might be able to use a moorbounder. Claws and standing. Okay, no, not quite. Old croaker, sangzor, spider king, worm, crocodile, dire wolf, giant eagle. What else you got? What else you got for me? Brown bear, clawfoot. Bounce pack tactic. No, not quite. We could kind of use that. I don't know. The claws are what's kind of giving me pause about a lot of these, because the elephants just don't have claws. I mean, I guess I could say that it's this, that, or the other thing instead, but I don't. I'd prefer to not have to remember to do that type of stuff. What are these guys? Ram. Footed charge. I mean, that does what I'm looking for here. That does what I'm looking for, so I'll take it. Copy that. Yeah, that's got the stats. It's got the stats and the abilities that I'm generally trying to look for here. Paste that there. What? Go away, you goofy notification. I get it. Yeah. Doing really good on time. So yeah, a Sangzor. Let's see here. To remember resistances. Because it has a lot of them from non-magical attacks. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, especially when I look at like these guys up here, and because it's like from non-magical, that's supposed to just be like a magical ability. We're going to say ignore resistances for this guy here. That will certainly make them a little bit easier to handle. But I'm okay with that because these guys are kind of getting down towards they're more about distracting from whatever else might be in this battle for players. So I'm willing to go ahead and make them a little bit nerfed just to make sure that things are kind of like thematically consistent. Charge, sure-footed, advantage on strength and dexterity saving throws made against. Advantage on strength and Sangzor has advantage on strength and dexterity saving throws made against effects that would not get prone. Got it. So I'm going to put in remember footed for possible prone, right? That's just the quick version of it, just to see it there. Charges nearest enemy. So for these guys, I'm going to say charges nearest enemy. Yeah. The Sangzor moves at least 20 feet straight forward toward a target, then hits it with a ram attack on the same turn. Target takes an extra 5 bludgeoning damage. The target is a creature. It must succeed on a DC 13 saving throw or be knocked prone. Perfect. Charges nearest enemy. We'll say if charges nearest enemy, if that enemy is knocked prone, we'll turn to find another target. Target. If that enemy is not knocked prone, it will keep ramming the same. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? It will back up and charge the same enemy again on its same enemy again. Yeah, that's what we'll do, because it's got 20 feet of movement speed, right? So you can't disengage. It will it will take the attack of opportunity. But I actually like the idea of it, like backing up and then trying again, like just like and doing that to the same creature. Charges nearest enemy, stays focused until it dies. So it's like it'll stay on that same target and it'll back up and try and get him again. Just like those real a-hole sheep that you see at the petting zoo that like will back up slowly, wind up, and then like ram the little kid that's like struggling to stand because the kid's 2 and doesn't know how to walk with a handful of goat food while like the goats are desperately trying to be the ones that get the food. The classic videos. There's a trend with me. I tend to be very amused by the falling over and general knocking down of children. Like, not in the sense of like, haha, I like abuse, but in the sense of children are so clumsy and they lack balance so completely that it's just amusing to see how little it takes to knock them over. And it just cracks me up. Granted, getting hit by a goat might knock a full-grown adult over too. So it's not exactly fair to say, haha, kids can't stand when being rammed by something that wants to knock you over. But there's just something amusing about it, because the other thing that's amusing about it is they just topple, right? It's like an adult will try and catch themselves. So falling over is a little less traumatic. But like a kids will just they just like face plant, they just go down. It's so funny. They just ragdoll all over the place. It's classic stuff. Okay, so I need to modify this really quickly. Giant boar, I just realized I need to do caps like that. Skinned as oh, I actually want to caps lock it. That's a little too extreme. Skinned as normal. Actually, we're just gonna do skinned as elephant. Boom, elephant. And then this guy is gonna be, so the soldier is going to be the Sangzor. And that's worth 200 XP a pop. We're going to do that. We're gonna do it this way. Skinned as juvenile elephant. Skinned as juvenile elephant. And then we'll do. There we go. And then for our fodder, these ones are always, about 10 of these guys would make for a medium battle. They really only show up in the easy battles. So these guys will be the challenge rating, or challenge rating 1/2. Yeah, 1/2, because that's where we get our 100 experience points pop from. There we go. Right? Do I have that right? I do. Okay. I do. I'm smarter. Giant dragonfly. Oh my god, look at that. You like that image? It just makes me look like, it just, see, all it makes me think is that that's a tiny, tiny man. Or woman, I guess it's hard to tell from here. But it's like, that's not a giant dragonfly, that's just a little tiny fairy. Anyway, it's not going to be that. Giant goat seems like the front runner here. We'll look and see what all is available. War horse, swarm of insects. Swarm of insects, research. Jakuli. Kind of a cool creature. We're not using it, but it's cool. Yeah, that giant goat. Oh boy. Yeah, nope, that's it. I mean, the clawfoot raptor looks kind of neat, but it's not helpful. Not helpful for us. Alright, so let's go back there. Where's our giant goat? Just to be better at making goat noises. Then I stopped practicing making goat noises and I got worse at it. I make a lot of voices throughout the day when I'm just sitting here talking to myself, but making farm animal noises is not part of my standard repertoire these days. Maybe it should be. That would be kind of fun. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say skinned as baby elephant. And I really like that one because it that'll really give our players some hardship. That'll give them some heartburn to think about having to kill a baby elephant if it comes to that. You know, like I say, I like to find ways to screw with my players anytime I can. If I can mess with their brain space a little bit, then It's perfect. It's perfect. A game should be straightforward, not as far as I'm concerned. Not when it's a role-playing game, right? If you're just playing a standard board game, then yeah, keep things straightforward. We don't need a story for Monopoly. Just play by the rules and call it good. When you're playing a role-playing game, no. The whole point of doing a role-playing game is to put yourself in someone else's shoes and have to make decisions as that person. So then the decision becomes, am I a monster that kills baby elephants or not? Right? And you have to sit there with it. And I think the thing that's fun about it is like people will kind of hide behind the concept of like, oh, it's just a game. Oh, I'm just playing a character. I wouldn't do that. But the fact is you have at least demonstrated, no matter what the scenario is, like if you do some horrible thing, if you have your character do some horrible thing, doesn't matter how much you say like, oh, if it weren't my character, like I would never do that, but my character might, blah, 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 blah. You at least have demonstrated that you are capable of conceptualizing the process of doing that horrible thing. How do you live with yourself, right? Ignoring, just trying to completely charge past the fact that I am the one who came up with the situation to present to them, which makes me just as bad. You just try and blow right past that part and make them feel guilty. And if you can do that, that's what makes you a good DM. Were it only that simple. All right. Yeah. Okay. So for this guy here, picks a target shared by the nearest larger elephant. Actually, we'll do the nearest. We'll do the nearest larger elephant, and tries to help. We'll do charge. We'll say charge plus ram. Charge plus ram will keep. Actually, not plus. We'll just do charge. Then ram will keep attacking target as long as the adult elephant is will change targets and follow the adult based on what the adult is doing. So it's just like it's a little baby elephant, and it just like keeps following. It's like, well, mom's goring this guy. I guess I better try it too. It seems like the thing that we do. And so the baby will just go and charge in and try to murder people. And it'll be perfect. So there we go. Yeah, so giant boar skinned as a baby elephant, or giant goat skinned as a baby elephant. Perfect. It'll mess with players, make them feel like real jerks, which is just always primo when you can do that. I was commenting with my players the other day. I was like looking at some of my notes of some of the stuff that I've done to them, and I laughed. I was like, I'm a really sassy DM, aren't I? And they laughed, and they're like, yeah, but it's cool. We're into it. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good. I'm a real ball of sass when it comes to managing those guys. I'm a real sasshole about it sometimes. There we go. That's a good one. That's a good term. That's a funny one. That's perfect. All right, so there's that section. Great. Let's figure out the enemies that are going to be in section 4 of this thing. As always, starting off just understanding what types of creatures are going to be around here, because that really does help inform how we're going to structure the descriptions of things. And like for me, it just makes it a lot easier to sort of conceptualize what the whole setting looks like as I start adding like the details of the rooms in there. I like to know the enemies that are going to be there and coming up, because then you can drop clues about future bosses and stuff. If you already understand, the boss that's going to be in that, like, 6th section of the dungeon down here, if you know the boss, then you can do like slow buildups. And like we've talked about possibly doing with this dungeon, which the idea grows and grows on me even more. Whatever the last, like the final big bad boss of this chapter of the campaign is going to be, I really want it to be something that is like low-key hunting the players as they're as they're exploring the city. Not in a way that if they force the issue, I'll let them fight the boss, like the big bad, early if they want to confront it. But the idea is like there will be certain rooms, or buildings they're in that will like then, it'll like trigger the quick time event or whatever of like suddenly they hear that creature outside and it's like sniffing at the door. And if they leave it alone, the thing will like kind of move on and just have it be this like big unseen monster, you know. And I kind of want to do that. So it's like that's where knowing the enemy beforehand comes in really handy. Because you can then drop those clues, right? You can drop in clues about what the footprints look like as you're going, things like that. So I think this will be really solid. I think it'll be really fun, and why we're doing it this way. So let's see. We need to let's grab our enemy stats and strats. Come on. Ah! There we go. Sorry. Copy that. One down here. Da da da. That right there. Boom, boom. There we go. That way we can just copy and paste it. Okay, so for this one, so for our boss here, it needs to be, honestly, we're probably going to end up keeping the same rough challenge rating. And so this is where it can get kind of tricky, because it's 1100 or the next one up. If we wanted to go above our 4, right? If we go up to 5, filter monsters, sort by challenge rating, thank you. Right, if we go up to our 5, that's going to be worth, 1800, and that's a pretty big jump up. So we're going to just find another set, and actually that actually can work out pretty well, because now we can go ahead and use our giant subterranean lizard. We can go ahead and do that. That'll be fun, you know, because I kind of wanted to do that, but I went with the rhino or the elephant instead. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll take a screenshot of our subterranean lizard, copy that. Let's go in here, and we'll paste them down here. There we go. Giant subterranean lizard. Okay, so let's take a look here. Huge beast on a line, multi-attack. The lizard makes 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its tail. One attack can be replaced by swallow. Alright, so it can do a bite and a tail. It can do a bite and a swallow, or it can do a tail and a swallow. I do like the idea of a bite and a swallow, because it's just it chewing you. I think that's perfect. Yeah, so bite, tail, swallow, perfect. Yeah, so what we'll do with this is, let's see here. We'll say it targets closest. We'll say it targets the closest. Almost always use bite. Almost always use multi. Well, wait, hold on. I'm just trying to think about how I want to word this. Bite plus swallow as a multi-attack combo. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just do that. That's perfect. If we set it up that way, then we can just have it going around and just trying to eat everyone. I think it's wonderfully simple. I think it's perfect. I think it's wonderfully simple and perfect. It'll just try and bite and swallow everyone. No, I see no reason to do anything different. Just bite and swallow as a multi-attack combo. Great. Super duper. I like it. So here, got a little note here. Giant subterranean subterranean, there's no I in there. Subterranean lizard. That's gonna be worth 1100 XP. Great. And then what I'd like to do is I'm just gonna put a little note here and just skin as giant lizard. I'm just gonna do that. I don't want to like refer to it and think of it as a subterranean lizard, because I think when it says subterranean lizard, looking at those stats, I don't think it burrows through the ground. I think it lives under, like, in caves is the idea. It's like a cave lizard. Because otherwise, why would you specify it as, like, if it doesn't have the ability to move underground or something like that, like burrowing through the ground, like Tremors or something like that, or the worms from Dune, right? If it can't do that, then why would you call it subterranean? So I'm assuming that it is just like a cave thing, and so we're just gonna skin it as like a big giant lizard, because obviously there are no caves around here. I mean, we could kind of make an argument that maybe it treats the buildings like caves, but that seems like a cop out. So I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna just take like a quick 20-second break. Like I gotta pee, and yeah, I'm still not in a place where I would want to do that on camera. I think about it, I consider it every time. I, never say never, but today's not the day. So I'm gonna run to the bathroom. You guys don't get to come along. I'll be back in like just a minute, tops. Probably not even. I'll refill my beverage, and then we will keep going. So yeah, sit tight. I appreciate the patience. All right, back at it. I appreciate your patience, as does my Bladar, and yeah, let's keep making some. Let's keep going with this. Keep going with this. All right, so we're now entering lizard territory, I suppose. So let's see what kind of lizard type stuff we can have. If we can just kind of stick with like a reptile theme here. Let's just check and make sure. So for our next dudes, right? Our leaders here, as I kind of affectionately title them. We're looking at. We want each of them. Oh, that comma kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, oh, geez, did I do my math all wrong? Nope, just put the comma in the wrong place. Okay, sorry. So 2 or 3 of them, right, to be this level. If we do 700, I think that should work just fine because it makes 2 of them at 1400. There's a little on the high side, but considering our boss, right, was the same as before, I think we can do that, and that'll help us mix things up. So let's look for a challenge rating 3 creature to use in this scenario here. We could use the giant snapping turtle. Amphibious, stable. Whenever an effect knocks the turtle prone, make a DC 10 to avoid being knocked prone. Prone turtle is upside down. Just stand up and must succeed on DC 10 dexterity check on its turn. So like we could do that. We could do that. I don't know though. It's got a lot of special things in there that we'd have to kind of adjust and change. And if I can avoid going, basically what I'm thinking here is I'd like to not put in that work if I can avoid it. But it doesn't look like I really can if I want to stick with the thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that then. Giant snapping turtle. go ahead and take a screenshot of that bad boy. There we go. Copy that. Go here. Okay. Giant snapping turtle. A few spaces to work with here. Because it bothers me. Like, it visually bothers me to have that stuff too much in the way. Yeah, so we'll just say it's flavored as a lizard. We'll just go ahead and say utilize. Let's do this. Let's do this. Utilize stable. Make it a bit easier to see here. Stable. For avoiding going prone, but don't use the prone rules or AC, since it's just a lizard, not a turtle. So we'll do that. Bites everything. Boom, there we go. Simple as that. That's all we got to do with it. That's all we got to do with it. Lizards are really easy to operate as a DM. Like, really easy. Like, super easy. Alright, that's easy enough. And then, okay, so our next one, I gotta make sure and put them up here too. Giant snapping turtle. There we go. Fingers are cold and clumsy right now. Giant snapping turtle, those are worth 700 XP. And then we're going to just do skin as here we go. Here's what we can do. Skin as a giant Gila monster. We'll just skin it that way, and we'll just like say that that's how it's skinned and kind of describe it that way. Just because, and literally the only reason I'm doing that is because that is a type of lizard that is visually striking to everyone, that is like low and squat and close to the ground, so the whole stable situation would make sense, right? It would be hard to get one of those things to roll over if it did not want to. So that's good. That's good. Right. Let's keep. Well, wait. Hold on. So now for the easy ones, we want, or for the easier enemies here, we want 5 of them to be a medium battle. So those should all be. I mean, mathematically, that ends up being what, like 300 experience points. So, yeah, 200 is gonna be shy. 450 is going to be quite a bit more. So let's just look. I think either one can be acceptable because it's going to be a loose fit. So let's just look and see what's available within our 1 and 2 challenge rating pools and see what makes the most sense. Because then our last guys will be, we can stick with the 100 experience points, the half challenge rating. We can stick with that. So let's go ahead and just look through our challenge 2 and 1 and see what we've got, and just use whatever thematically makes the most sense, I guess. That's just kind of what I'm feeling. Then I got Sabertooth, Rhino, Relic Sloth. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. Oh, it's so cool. I'd totally have one. Look at him in his knuckles with his big claws. Like, you could just like, you can have it carry stuff while it was walking. Ah, it's so cute. All right, anyway. Sorry. Polar bear, plesiosaurus, ice spider queen, hunter shark, giant white moray eel, giant crayfish, giant constrictor snake. We could go with snakes. Enormous tentacle, cave bear. Like, we could have this section of town just be like a particularly broken down and like rubble strewn part of it. So there's just like a lot of little crevices for things like snakes and lizards to hide in, even giant ones. And then also there's a lot of places like for them to bathe, like sunbathe on top of rocks and stuff like that. We could just do it that way. And that would kind of give us a reason for why there are a lot of like reptilian creatures. I don't dislike that idea. Giant constrictor snake is one of the options there. What else is there? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh well, we were gonna look through our ones too. We'll do our due diligence. We'll check just to make sure. Things are old croaker, a good old croaker. Giant toad would be kind of fun. Standing leap, the toad's long jump is up to 30 feet. That could be fun. Although I guess I still lean giant constrictor snake. I think that fits what we're setting up a little bit better. I think the giant toad is a little too loose fit for the theme that we're going for in this section of the campaign. Or this section of this chapter of the campaign. So yeah, let's do the giant constrictor snake. Pretty simple and easy too. Take a screenshot of that. There we go. Copy it. Over here into our notes. Pasting it. Give myself a little thing right here. Giant constrictor snake. Great. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do with these guys. Let's see. I will always try to ambush by hiding in crevices. Crevices? Crevasses? There it is. That's the one. Took me a few tries. Please don't tell my parents that I struggled that hard with spelling. They'll be so disappointed. I told the story last time. Well, I forget. I think it was earlier this week. I told the story of how my teachers would have to have like special conferences with my parents when I was a kid because I just was so horrible at spelling. Like we're talking about like I would spell the word like as in I have a dog, right? I would misspell as like UH. I mean, not quite that bad, but it was that bad. I was so bad. I was so bad at spelling. It's just embarrassing when I look back on it and think about it. Like, because I can remember the times when like the teachers would have to have special conferences with my parents to talk about my spelling, and then how like after that, you know, it was like part of my life that like I would be doing homework. Like I would have a writing assignment for homework, and I would write it. And I would be done with it, but my mom would be, you know, being a good mom, she would like pull it out of my backpack at some point in the evening and look over it just to make sure I like did it and everything. She would, and like I can remember times when she would come to me and she'd be like, "Listen, buddy, what you've written is good, but we need to talk about your spelling and we need to fix this up." And we would sit there and she would point out like, and we're talking like a 4-sentence essay thing in like, you know, 3rd grade is like this is like the level of difficulty of writing, right? We're talking about like 10 word sentences there, and she would pull up like each sentence would have like 3 or 4 spelling errors in it, and it's just like I have distinct memories of that stuff. I was that bad at it. I was that bad, and it's really funny too. It's kind of interesting how that leads you down different paths in life because like that was a big reason. Like those early memories, just being really embarrassed about my inability to write well, was one of the big reasons that I really avoided doing like, you know, approaching a lot of creative things in general. Like I was good at music. I was always very creatively inclined towards making and playing music. I loved instruments, played the piano, moved on to percussion, did the drums. I loved drums for a long time. Have since picked up guitar. I can kind of like I can play guitar. I can noodle around on, you know, a ukulele to a degree. Same with a bass guitar, even less so. I have actively tried to play a banjo. I would not say I know how to play a banjo, but I have tried before. You know, so it's like I've always been musically inclined, but I was always so resistant to try writing. Even though I had like all these big ideas in my head, like I've always been a very visual, you know, like my imagination has always been very visual. Like I'm not like, you know how there's some people who they can't visualize pictures. Like when you say an apple in their mind, they don't see a picture of an apple. You know, they just know they see like a list of the defining characteristics of an apple, right? I'm the opposite. I very much see scenes and pictures and images in my head all the time. And I've always done that, and I've always kind of lived in the head, in you know, lived in my head that way. But because of those early experiences of being poor at spelling and just like low self-esteem, believing I was bad at writing, I spent a long time never writing and sharing things. So like I did eventually start doing world building and writing in that sense, but I always kept it to myself. I never shared. Never shared. It wasn't until getting involved in like D&D in college that I really started to share the stuff that I wrote. But even then, like I would never share the written version of it. I would just speak it, right? Because I just had this like ingrained embarrassment that the actual quality of my writing was not good. So, it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Like, I don't consider myself having been wronged by teachers or anything. That was just how my little brain interpreted, very helpful criticisms. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was very good and very helpful. I got better at spelling. But as a kid, just my personality, I got super embarrassed about it. And so I was always so resistant to do anything or share anything, and that's what drove me towards doing a lot of, like, professionally speaking, a lot of sciences and all that kind of stuff, because it was like, okay, yeah, like science, yes, you kind of have to write essays and stuff like that, but it's like no one is interested in the quality, like the grammar of it, as long as you can just describe in plain words what you saw and what was done, right? Then it's no big deal. You don't need to have that creative, flowery writing that I believed myself to be super bad at. And now here we are nowadays. I've kind of discovered that I do actually really have a love for writing. I just need to work at it a bit harder to make sure I actually spell things properly. So the moral of the story is, I guess the reason I'm saying it, and the moral of the story is, just because you're not good at something doesn't mean you should give up on it if you have a passion for it. It's like, be prepared to recognize that depending on how not good at it you are, may not be a viable way to pay the bills or something like that. But like, don't give up on the stuff just because you're not good at it, right? Keep trying and practicing, and eventually you'll get pretty okay at it. Like, I'm good enough now at writing that people like to come by and get, my thoughts on writing things. Like, I'm not a professional writer or anything like that, but, people acknowledge that I've got a certain degree of skill in writing. And, like, compared to the average Joe in their life, I've got a bit more skill at writing. And that just comes from having worked on it a whole lot. So it's like, stick with the things you like. Stick with the things you like. I guess that's kind of something that's been on my mind, because we have a bunch of really new people in the kickboxing gym that I'm instructing, and they're exactly where I was when I first got in martial arts, where they are, bless their souls, they've got the spirit. These kids, they're like middle and high school age kids. Like, bless their soul, they got the spirits. They want to be ninjas. They want to be super awesome fighters. Like, they want to do it. So they got the spirit, but as you can tell, they have not done sports. They have not done sports. They are, like, one kid, I swear I've witnessed him lose balance standing still. It's, oh my gosh, they're precious. But I, like, the thing is like, the last thing I want to do is discourage them or avoid training them just because they're bad. Because just because they're struggling doesn't mean they can't eventually get better. So, just moral of the story, keep working at things even if you're not great at it. Like me and spelling. Constrictor snake, don't all snakes do that? Not necessarily. So constrictor snakes, those are the ones that squeeze you. But there are snakes that'll bite you instead. There's plenty of snakes that don't really do much constricting. Now, as far as giant ones go, I don't know. I haven't encountered a whole lot of magically giant snakes, but no, not all snakes will constrict you. Some of them will. They'll just bite you and poison you and make your blood turn into jelly. That's some of them, that's their approach to life. Anacondas, definitely, yeah, 100%. They're not poison. They're make your eyeballs pop out of your head. Snakes, no doubt about that one. No doubt about that one. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's. Thank you for pulling me back into focus here. I was off on like 3 layers of tangent there, which is what I do. This is why I can't be trusted with a microphone. Like, oh, what was this lecture supposed to be about? Pretty sure it's supposed to be about air quality, but this guy's over here talking about he's talking about how to bake cakes and stuff. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure how he got here. I don't think he's sure either. Now he's just talking. Now things are getting really meta because he's talking about how he doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. Everything's getting really weird. This is confusing. I don't know what's happening. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna have these guys always hide in crevices. we'll say until a target is within bite range. They will say they really like squeezing things. There we go. A buck with snakes. Snakes, they I feel like snakes are a really good example of the term. They're a little confused, but they've got the spirit. Like, yeah, I've like the crazy stories of snakes trying to swallow things that's just ill-advised. A buck with a full set of antlers. Like, my lord. Can you imagine? Like, I'm just trying to think about that. I'm trying to think about like why it wouldn't have given up. Unless what you saw was it tried and then you witnessed it give up. But it's like, my immediate thought is like it tried to eat that and then the antlers punctured it. And that's just the kind of situation where like, why wouldn't it give up? Just let it go. Come on, man. It's a bad decision. It's a bad life decision. I know you're a snake, but I feel like there's a brain up there. Even if there's a limit to how high the thought can get there's a brain in there, which presumably would have some sort of self-preservation instinct that would say, this thing hurts. Maybe I should stop and back off of this. Maybe I should just let this one go. I mean, I guess maybe if it started at the butt end, right, and it started with the booty and started going in there, and then it reached the head, and it was kind of at that point of no return. Like, maybe after a certain point, it's just like, we're in it now. Like, it's either die stopping or die trying. Like, one or the other. Maybe it did that. I have seen snakes go for crocodiles. I feel like a crocodile is almost more sensical. Like, the claws could rip it open, but it's like I could see how a snake would be able to just like manage to get itself around the head. Like there's no like outcroppings, right? Everything can kind of fold into a generalized tube shape on a crocodile. Like a deer, or like a buck, the antlers don't collapse, they don't fold in. They're not aerodynamic, right? They're not like peacock feathers where they just fold back. That'd be pretty rad though. That'd be a fun magical creature where it's almost like it's got that lizard like frill, right? It's like one of those, but it's like with a buck. So it's like when it's doing its mating dance, all of a sudden it's like boom, and it's got like the big rack of it's got the big rack. Yeah, that's the female mating dance right there. Ha ha! Got it. No, I don't. I like a crocodile makes more sense. Yeah, a buck. Like you would just think that the snake would be like, this ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Nope, this is just not working. Not working here. You would think. But then again, maybe that's exactly the issue that I'm running into here, because it's like you would think, but a snake in many ways cannot. Not only will it not, but it cannot. Snake would not think. It would react. Giant Constrictor. Naki. What's that challenge rating on that guy again? Which one did we end up going with? We ended up going with the 2. That's right. 450. Be about 450. 450 XP. We don't need to reskin that. It can be there. Right, that's scared. Pelican eating young alligators. You know what? I buy that. Pelicans. I mean, there's videos of pelicans like biting a person's head trying to eat a people. Like. Pelicans are jerks. Like that makes sense to me. I could see that happening. Like especially when you're talking about young ones, like they're pretty small. They could fit that in like their big giant goiter that they got going on there. Like they could do that. I mean, again, it seems ill-advised, but I suppose when you're living in the animal kingdom, right, where starvation is just a Tuesday for a lot of animals, they probably get into that sort of like beggars can't be choosers situation, right? Like it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, I can be a relative amount of picky in my life, right? Because I live in I'm pretty fortunate. I was born in a first world country. I earn enough that I can, choose my groceries and stuff like that. So it's like I'm unlikely to eat the gristle on a snake or on a steak on a snake too, but on a steak. I'm unlikely to really eat much gristle. That's not really my thing. But like, if I were living out in the woods without the capability, like without the mental fortitude to make shelter, I'd probably be willing to eat that as a matter of just like surviving. It'd be like, hey, nourishment, we'll call it good. Snake that'll scare me in D&D. Okay, all right, share. Please divulge. I mean, I know. Okay, so here's the fun thing. My players are like legitimately afraid of every snake they encounter, because when they were level 1, they encountered one of these giant constrictor snakes, and they did a very poor job. Granted, poor rolls, like just bad luck on rolls, played a big role. Played a big part of it. But one of them was unconscious and being squeezed to death at one point in time while they were fighting a single giant snake. So they're very afraid of snakes in the game, which cracks me up because like they weren't even level 1. They were like level 2, I think, by the time that one showed up. The time that incident happened, and they other than just really poor luck on their rolls, there was no reason it was a problem for them. And as they've continued to level up, they'll be able to smash these things pretty easily. But no, they're just terrified of it. It's terrified, and it's endlessly amusing. We need a 1/2 here. We could go with a crocodile. We're doing like our lizard reptilian type of theme here. What else do we got? Reef shark, jaculi. Oh, we could use these guys. Look at that. That's kind of reptilian. That's pretty reptilian looking. Am I right? Am I right? What kind of stuff they got? White spring. Pronounced jaculi. 15-foot long snake that can alter the color and texture of its scales to camouflage itself. Oh, I like that. I'm going to use it. Kind of weird that these are the easiest ones rather than like the boss, just because of thematically how they look. But I like it. And I want to use it. So, gosh darn it, I'm going to use it. Boom. Paste that in there. Jaculi. Alright, Phew. Jaculi springs up to 30 feet in a straight line. Makes a bite attack against a target within its reach. Attack has advantage if the Jaculi springs at least 10 feet. The attack hits, the bite deals an extra 7 piercing damage. Oh my gosh, these things are totally just gonna like these little jumpy boys are just like they're totally gonna spring at them. It's totally gonna happen. I'm gonna make it happen. God darn it, I'm making it happen. So we're going to say, okay, here's what we'll do. Camouflage, so keen smell, so we'll just do like remember keen smell if necessary. It's probably not going to come up for these guys, but we'll camouflage until target is in spring range, and then we'll enter combat by exploding into a chaotic mess of springing snakes. Boom, there we go. I love it. I love it so much right there. It's gonna be so great. Spring and bite, unless already in unless already in melee range of an enemy where they will stay put and bite. So we'll just do that. That's gonna be their tactic. I love it. Oh, I love it. Those are gonna be fun ones to do. Jaculi. Those are worth 100 XP a pop. Don't need to reskin them or anything. So we got lizards and we got snakes in that part of town. I think that's perfect. That's fun. It's a little different than the other just big giant mammals that we've been using so far. I'm into it. It's perfect. All right. So on to the next section. This is section 5 of the city, right? Yeah, section 5. Section 5. Check general. All right. I'll have to do that. Next chance I get, I will do that. Let's see here. Section 5. Doo. All right. So determine it for this one. Again, always when we're thinking about like our bosses, just picture with a stat block. Yeah. I'll check it out. I'm super curious. I'm gonna let the tension build up. I'm super curious about it. I don't know what you came. Is this you can tell me now, is this a homebrew thing that you made or that you found or something like that? Is that what you got for me? All right, so the boss battle, one of these guys, just this guy alone would be a medium difficulty at 1600. We're gonna go ahead and jump up and do the 1800. That's what, challenge rating 5 creatures, I believe. Giant spider snake. That does sound yuckers. Sounds like many levels of yuckers going on there. Yeah, we'll do a challenge rating 5 for the boss in this section. I think that's perfect. Obliterous. I do like that title. The giant shark. Not helpful. It's a land shark. You're that shark again. All right. All right. Large subterranean lizard. That's what we just did. Yeah, we already did that. Hulking crab, giant shark, giant crocodile, two-headed plesiosaurus, stegosaurus, giant walrus. Actually, wait, hold on a second. Let's see here. No, I don't have links set up in chat just to help get them like bot waves a little under control, at least to a certain degree. So no, I'll check it out. Don't you worry. I'll check it out, baby. I gotta do it when I got time. All right, so hold on. I think I goofed up something here. Now that I'm looking at this, I think for that last section, I shouldn't have done the large subterranean lizard. It's gonna, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna keep it there. It's fine. The large subterranean lizard, because I was supposed to do a challenge rating 4 for this one here. Oh no, it's different. Giant subterranean lizard. Okay, giant and large. Apparently the large is more dangerous than the giant one. Which is weird to me because if I'm using the word large and giant, I'm putting large as smaller than giant, personally. But hey, yeah, no, it's whatever, baby. What was this guy? East Chaotic Evil. Oh yeah, that's underwater. That's this shark. We might have to expand our idea. I mean, we could do a swarm of cranian. These guys are kind of cool. How is challenge rating determined when it's custom? You mean like in terms of if you're making a homebrew creature and you're like, if you're making a homebrew monster and you're trying to determine what challenge rating it would be? Is that what you're getting at? Cause it yeah, I guess the thing that I'll say is I don't know. If you're starting from scratch, I don't know. I don't know what the process is. I don't do a lot of homebrew making of monsters. What I will do a lot of times is I will modify an existing one. And so like for me, it's always like, so for example, if I wanted to do something that was kind of close to Storm of Cranium Rats, like if I have something very specific in mind that I wanted to do, like let's suppose I wanted to have a swarm of animals that had some sort of spell casting abilities, but I wanted different spells. I would look at this stat block, like, because this stat block is pretty close to what I'm trying to do. So I would start with this, and I would make like similar trades, right? So like if I wanted to change these spells, I would look at the challenge rating of all these spells, or like the level of all of these things. Okay, I guess I'll hold. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Okay, we'll go over that later. All right, so for the monsters, yeah, I'm gonna expand. I'm going to expand into some of these other things to find something. We can explore plants. Actually, plants might be kind of fun if there's an area where it's just like overgrown with plants. In fact, I'm gonna kind of clean it out a little bit and make it a bit easier to look here. So let's see here. A woodwode, shambling mound. Yeah, we could do... Oh, this would be actually kind of fun. Would actually be really fun. The wood woads are kind of interesting. Let's see what other similar things we can have at lower. LP Groff. Ooh, look at that. That's kind of cool. Spore Servant. Needle Lord. Look, it's the Needle Lord. Hook Horror Spore. Brackish Trudge. I really like the idea of like very, like maybe it's a part of the town that's like very close to the hill, so it's like very, like a lot more almost foresty with like overgrown and like pretty large trees and stuff, and having all of them just be like planted up versions of creatures that would exist around in this area. So like for this guy, we could do the Shambling Mound and just have it be like kind of skinned as like a planted up version of like a large plains creature or something like that, to the point that it's unrecognizable of what it once was. But it's like we do that, and then work with like the Groff or something like that. It's kind of cool. I like the Groff. Oh, I don't have the stuff for Groff. Dang it. A horror spore servant. But yeah, we could do like the brackish trudge and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna try and do that. All right, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so all I was gonna say, basically what I was just gonna say is, find like my suggestion, if you're starting, like if you got something specific in mind, find a stat block for a monster that's pretty close, and then trade things like for like, right? So trade things that are roughly the same challenge, right, or the same, like, you know, so like if I wanted to do something that was similar to a Shambling Mound here, you know, like maybe keep multi-attack, right, and then like for if I wanted to replace slam with like something specific, right, instead of I wanted to do like gore or something like that, make sure you set it up so that it's a similar amount of damage, keep the hit points roughly the same, the stats roughly the same, you know, trade out, like if you want it to have more intelligence, right, then maybe you just sacrifice some of the wisdom and move it over to intelligence. I would do it that way, so that way you know it's roughly going to be statistically in the same realm. And that can give you an idea for challenge rating, is what I would recommend. Because going from scratch, I have no idea. I have no idea how you'd want to balance that. That would be a really tough thing to do, no doubt. So that was all I was going to say with it. So let's see. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot here of this guy. Let's see here. Oh shoot. Yeah. Let's paste that, and then you want to also just get our little header. Copy that. There we go. Enemy stats and strats. Shambling Mound. So I got to think about how I want to operate the Shambling Mound here. This guy. This guy. Let's see here. I'm going to remember all resistances and immunities. The important part, and I always forget that stuff, so if I just put an extra little note there for myself. Oh, good. Lightning absorption. Whenever a Shambling Mound is subjected to lightning damage, takes no damage and regains a number of hit points equal to lightning. So resistances, immunities, I'm going to do it as its own bullet point, because that is such an important thing to remember here. Remember lightning absorption, in case anyone tried to shock it. And then let's see, and then we'll say will target closest. It's just basically, I'm just gonna kind of skin it as a beast that's been plantified by like the magic and the like plants in the area. So we'll target, so we'll just have it behave like a beast would. Target closest enemy until it dies, and then pick the next closest enemy. And it's just always going to make, I think, the Shambling Mound engulfs immediate. So wait, 2 slam attacks at both hits attack. Let's say, actually, so I'm going to change that up, because I was thinking that multi-attack would let it do a slam and an engulf. Let's see, so here's what I want to do. We'll try to engulf first enemy. Once an enemy is engulfed, we'll try, let's do this, actually, this will be fun. We'll try to run and use slam attacks, slam multi-attack to escape. There we go. I like that. There we go. Sandhork. He's armed to take shape of weapons. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Like Terminator. A gem. Oh yeah. So that's like the glowing red and yellow spot that you gotta hit. I like it. Does it have the ability to like put the sand over the gem to like protect it, and then like players will have to do something specific to expose that? Because that would be pretty neat. Okay, we're gonna call this a Shambling Mound. Shambling Mound. That's worth 1800 XP. Go. Yeah, cool. I think we got enough time to finish up this section here. Great. Okay, so Shambling Mound. So we got that one. The next guy. So this guy, we want 2 of them to be about a medium difficulty. So somewhere in the vicinity of 800 experience points is what we would want for these guys. So we'll do our 700. That's our challenge rating 3. So let's go find a plant that's a 3 challenge rating. That'll be perfect. Here we go. That's where I wanted to be. Challenge rating 3. Go. Assassin Vine, Brackish Trudge, Hook Horror. Yeah, let's do the Brackish Trudge. I like the look of these guys. Again, it like looks like a sort of a plantified version of some sort of beast. It's dang it. Apparently I just need to buy Strixhaven. Jeez, oh Pete's. Yeah, Groff was one of those ones too. Needlelord. The Needlelord. I need a lord. Anyone got a lord? I need a lord. I cracked myself up. Okay, well, like, what does the assassin vine look like? That's just a vine. You know what? Screw it. Yeah, we'll do that. These guys just like lay traps. Let's do it. We can have it be like a planted version. We'll call it a plant version of a snake or something like that, because it's got constrict and like entangling vines or something like that. So it's just a whole mess of them or something. I don't know. Copy it. Whatever. We'll think of an angle. Assassin vine. Actually, you know, it would be kind of fun if we just like keep everything as basic plants, and then the more sentient plant, that's the boss, and that's why it's the boss, because it's not like stuck in place like everything else is. Kind of like that idea. So false appearance while the assassin vine remains motionless is indistinguishable from a normal plant. So we'll do false appearance until something is in melee range. All right. It can animate normal vines and roots on the ground. Okay. So we'll constrict a target, and we'll say if someone is constricted, will, yeah, because it can only target one at a time. So if someone is constricted, will then use turn to create entangling vines. Boom, there we go. Gem is surrounded by, okay, all right. Absorb blood of its victims into the gem. Okay, all right, I feel that. Gem glows larger, and so does the body. Oh, okay, so it's like, so it would be kind of interesting. So if like the whole thing grows larger as it absorbs more, it would be kind of interesting if you had it so that it's like the gem engorges faster than the body grows. So it's like the more things it absorbs and like it kills and absorbs, then like for at least a certain period of time, the larger the gem gets. That could be a really neat combat thing where it's like players almost have to willingly let more death and destruction happen to make it easier to kill the thing. That'd be kind of interesting. Nice. Okay, yeah. I mean, I would imagine it would be a creation of some sort, like almost like a construct. Not really a construct, but like a construct. It's a cool idea. I like the idea. I definitely dig the idea. Okay, let's see. If someone is constrictable, then use entanglement. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Ass in vine. That's why I love the word assassin. 700 XP. How much of a child can I present myself to the entire internet? Chapter 1. Be amused by silly little swear words like ass. Like barely even a swear word. Like, that was like the first swear word that I was allowed to get away with saying as a kid. It was like the one that I could get away with, like, you know, as long as I didn't do it too often, I could like say it in front of my parents without getting smacked. All right, let's see here. Awakened tree. Oh, I like the idea of just awakened trees. I like that idea. I want to do that. I'm immediately absorbed in that idea. I think that's. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot to double check my challenge ratings and experience points here. So we want about 5 of them to be worth 1,600 or so. So that makes what, like, that'll make them worth about, yeah, we want to aim for about 300 for that. So if we do 450, that's a little on the hefty side, but I'm okay with it. We'll just make our easy guys even easier, and that'll be fine, because I really like the idea of doing the awakened trees. Yeah, that's a little, I mean, it would be closer to do the 200. Well, that's okay. All right, we'll do our due diligence. Can multiply, but only after doubling. Oh, okay. So they can kind of like they can kind of go through like you know, like what's it called? The biologist here can't think of the thing when cells duplicate. I don't know. Whatever. My brain's broken. Man trap. Why's it got to be a man trap? Why can't it be a woman trap? Yeah. Sort of. Yeah, thorny. Oh, yeah, those little guys. No, okay, I'm going to stick with the awakened tree, because then we can go with, like, some of these other 1/2 for the next level down. It'll be fine. So, yeah. Awakened tree. Awakened tree. False appearance, again, so I'm going to even save myself a few seconds. We're just going to say false appearance till something's in melee range. Copy that and paste it. I like the idea of it. Slams and then holds very still to try and pretend it didn't do anything. So it's like if it'll slam something from behind, then like it'll just like hold real still and be like, wasn't me, even though like a tree obviously moved. Like, that's the idea. Like, that's like just a very sassy tree. So yeah, awakened tree, 450. Awakened tree worth 450 XP. Actually, I'm really glad I decided to do the plans for this. This is fun. These guys are goofy and I like it. All right, and now we just got to come up with a boss for this section here. Or not a boss, the easiest ones. San Horror reaches the peak. A massive, imagine a great desert just being, oh, okay, so like the entire desert is live. That's an interesting idea. That's a really interesting idea. That'd be really cool. You could like make that almost a full adventure where it's like the dungeon is letting yourself like get absorbed by it or something, and so you're just like, yeah, you're like Miss Frizzle, you know, Magic School Bus, drinking yourself down. Only the thing's giant, and you gotta explore the insides of it or something like that. That'd be kind of fun. Okay, so this guy, so about 150 for these guys because we need 10 of them to be a medium battle. So we'll go with the 100. Challenge rating 1/2. We'll do that, and that'll balance out that we kind of went a little hefty with that one, and that should give us plenty of stuff to work with here. So the 1/2, do a Vine Blight. Could do that. It looks like Predator. Anyway, try Flower Fraud? It looks a little too Alien Planet for what I'm looking for. Let's see here. Nice, cool. I like the idea of like of doing like classifications and stuff like that. I feel like if you do that, it kind of adds to the lore of the world and stuff. I think that's a cool idea. Let's see, Thorn Slinger, Podling, Needle Spawn, Myconid Adult, Gas Spore, Durgar Spore Servant, Amador the Dandelion. Incredible. I don't know. Nope, we can't do a Podling because I ain't own that one. Thorn Slinger, maybe? This guy. False appearance while the sword. Yeah, why not? False appearance. All of them are just plants that hold still and then will like attack you. Take a screenshot. Copy it. Everyone, I know everyone's here for my sound effects. I know that's why people are here. Thorn Slinger. False appearance till something. And although we're gonna change this to copy this. And then bullet point, paste that. False appearance until something is in, we're just going to say is in range, because it might you do a ranged attack. Actually, we'll do, okay, false appearance, and we'll use range attacks to try and stay hidden. Is what I like there. Thorn Slinger adheres to anything it touches. Medium or small creature adhered to the Thorn Slinger is also grappled by it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do remember adhesive blossoms if anyone tries to melee them. Boom. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Keep track of the monsters, made the categories. Know how dangerous they are. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. I like that. Post-apocalyptic. Yeah, I mean that's post-apocalyptic. That's what my world is. It's a little. It sounds like it's like the people survive in my world a little different than yours. But yeah, no. I mean, post-apocalyptic is a really good. It's a really good explanation for why things are so monstrous, because whatever caused it would also cause like the weird, crazy monsters to exist too, right? So it's like it's a really good setting, and plus it offers up so much opportunity for fun exploration for players. So it's really good setting for sure. Okay, so wait, what was it called? A Thorn Slinger? Thorn Slinger. Instead of a Gunslinger, it's a Thorn Slinger. Thorn Slinger. 100 XP a pop. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Coolio. So we've only got one section left to go. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to do that next time, because it's getting close to that time when I'm going to switch over to doing some video gaming. I want to bring us over here to our just chatting. So thank you to everyone who stopped by. I appreciate you guys. I'll take a short break, and then we're going to be back in today. We're playing some Planet Zoo. I'm so in love with that game. I'm so excited that I get to see her play it some more. So that's what's coming up here. So yeah, I'll give my little, for the sake of the VOD, that's going to go on YouTube, I'll give my little spiel about where you can find me. If you want the Cliff Notes version on where you can find me, all the social media stuff, you can either check the About page of my Twitch channel, or you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go ahead and check it out in the video description below. But the places you can find me are, I do have a Discord server, as we kind of talked about a little bit today. During the stream. If you like talking about D&D and sharing homebrew stuff and all that kind of stuff, the Discord's a really fun place to check out. I love staying connected with people on that. So check that out. I also do a lot of announcements about when I'm going live and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good way to stay connected. I also have a Twitter at EnviroStreams. You can find me there. Primarily use it for announcements and notifications about streams going live, changes in schedules and stuff like that. But also I'll try and share stupid thoughts that I have there. So I don't know if that's your jam, then go check me out on Twitter. I have an Instagram, EnviroBoy Streams. I put a lot of little snippets about other things I do with my life, my kickboxing, my rock climbing, my cat. A lot of my cat lately. I've been really laying on the cat pictures lately. But you can follow me there on Instagram if that's your jam. Fun stuff there. Hey, whatever you use Twitter for, man. Whatever gets you, whatever makes you happy. It's a beautiful tool, and it has a lot of versatility. And then I also have my YouTube channel, EnviroBoy, on YouTube. Put all my VODs up there. One of these days, I'll probably come through with the promise that I keep saying of learning how to video edit and do other videos and stuff like that too. But until then, it's a very good place to check out VODs if you want to see other stuff I've written, see different games that I played in the past. If you like keeping up with the streams, but it's hard to watch me live just because of time scheduling and stuff like that, then you can check out my YouTube channel. So there's all of that stuff. And then the last link is I do have a donation link. Donations are always welcome and super duper appreciated. They're very helpful, helped me get a mic and everything. But that said, if you want to support, the best thing you can really do is just show up here and watch, come here, check it out when I go live, get the whole like and subscribe and follow thing going on, with YouTube or with Twitch, or all that kind of stuff. That's the most helpful stuff. Tell a friend. If you like my streams and you got someone that you think they'd like it too, let them know and have them come check it out. That's the type of stuff that's really helpful for me. So but really, I mean, truthfully, whatever support you offer in whatever way it is, it's all appreciated. have been having so much fun with streaming. I've been very surprised at the fact that people are, into my streams and they like watching what I'm doing. And it's very fun and flattering. So whatever support you offer, it's super duper appreciated. I have tons of fun doing this. I consider myself very lucky that I get to do it. So, with that said, thank you to everyone. It is the end of the week. It's the end of the week. Next week, I should be able to, as far as I know, next week I'll be doing my normal streaming schedule, which is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone is when we start writing, and then 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time Zone is when we usually switch over and do some gaming. So you can check me out next week. If that changes at all, like I say, I'll make announcements about that on like Twitter or Discord. So yeah, take care. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. But yeah, so actually, yeah, that's kind of the sign off there. So that's all my announcements. I'm gonna take like maybe a 15-minute break, just rest my voice a little bit, and get myself swapped over to doing some Planet Zoo, which I can't even stop myself from smiling just thinking about getting to play that game. I love that game so much. I'm so stoked about it. So yeah, we're gonna play some Planet Zoo after the break. I'll leave you here with a little bit of music. After a certain point, after a few songs or something like that, there'll probably be a break. That's just me swapping the things over to get the VODs flipped over and get the game flipped over. So even if the stream goes dead for a minute or two, I'm still coming back. I promise you, it's gonna happen. I gotta switch things over, but that's all I got. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys. If you're sticking around, I'll see you in a few minutes. If not, I'll catch you cats on the flip side. Either way, I appreciate you, and I will see you in a little bit.